strikes, which kill thousands of civilians every time they rain upon another Middle Eastern or African country. Today, groups like Students for a Democratic Society, Uhuru Solidarity Movement, Food Not Bombs, Dream Defenders, and Freedom Road Socialist Organization and the Bradley Manning Support Network are here today to share their experiences and their stories about why war needs to end and how war affects each of these communities in different but in interchangeable ways. First up, we're going to hear from Bradley Manning Support Network to talk on the case of Bradley Manning and the injustice against him perpetrated by the U.S. government for his whistleblowing tactics.
The closest I've ever held like a gun that would shoot somebody. Well, I never assume anything. I never assume that anybody even knows who Bradley Manning is, except that he's been in custody for over 1,000 days. In fact, it'll be 3 years on June 1st without a trial. If he is convicted of even his lesser crimes, he could face, supposed lesser crimes, he could face 150 years. If he's convicted alone of the one thing that they're charging him with, of aiding and abetting the enemy, he could face either life in prison or the death penalty. I mean, Bradley Manning is accused. He's not accused of. He actually should not even have to say accused. He's admitted he's done it and should be proud of it and been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for it. Of sharing a video of the killing of civilians, including 2 journalists by U.S. helicopter in Baghdad, Iraq, with the WikiLeaks website. He's also charged with blowing the whistle on the Afghan war diary, the Iraq war logs, and revealing U.S. diplomatic cables. In short, he's been charged with telling us the truth. But a lot of people don't really kind of know who Bradley Manning is. And he's facing charges of serious crimes against the state. The arc of Bradley Manning's life in the 2000s is quintessentially America, and it's very post-millennial. He grew up in the relative serenity of the boom years of the 1990s, before his family came apart. Shortly thereafter, jetliners crashed into the World Trade Center and the Pentagon on 9/11. It sort of threw the U.S. into a period of upheaval. And as Bradley Manning watched that event unfold on television, he knew with precocious insight the effects of that attack would ripple through American society and around the globe. He did not know just how closely his own life would be touched by the cascading consequences of 9/11. Manning was a computer expert in the era when words like Google and Facebook became verbs, when the internet became the primary and essential network of information exchange around the world. He was the gay in the decade when gay rights went mainstream, and he nurtured a personal stake in the fight for marriage equality. At the first decade of the century, when he was confronted with severe financial difficulties and became, for a time, abandoned by his family and destitute, as happens with many gay people throughout the heartland, our global financial system came apart right behind it. He was driven by circumstance into the military, as many are, to try to find a way to fund education. I'm sure many people here can relate to that as they face student debt upon graduation and a job market that does not support paying that back. He was ill-prepared for the life that awaited him there, and he became a central actor in the endgame of America's troubled liberation of Iraq. Bradley opposed the first Gulf War. He was in England with his alcoholic mother, and he openly spoke out about the war, saying that it was about oil, and that the so-called weapons of mass destruction were a lie. He was ethical, honest, and he was troubled. His computer prowess and job classification brought him into direct contact with the truth about the United States military in the Middle East. And with the rise of the hacker and hacker culture, which is sort of founded upon a liberation ethos, that the culture prized unimpeded exchange of information and freedom from governmental meddling with equal zeal. The world was becoming more interconnected, and the information, well, I don't really need all that. The information that he found was too compelling. And the reason that I'm interested in this case is I know that direct action works. And what I look when I look, the release of information that Bradley Manning gave to WikiLeaks, I look upon as a direct action.